Yeah, welcome to Jacobs Sheep Farm, and this is for the farm tour. And again, this year we've had to do something really different because of the virus. We're doing everything safely and sanely by doing it virtual, and it's an experiment that's kind of exciting and fun. The thought behind it is still there. It's farm tour is about, to me anyway, it's about educating the public on how it's, for one thing, it's not necessary to have a big, huge farm to make a good footprint. I have a flock of 12 ewes right now, and at the end of the year, all of their fiber is already gone, so it's not making $1 million, but it's feeding my soul, and they're paying for themselves, and I'm really enjoying it. So the fact that you can do something like this on a small scale, I know when I first started thinking about farming, I was thinking about, you know, gosh, 3,000 sheep on a big Montana farm, how are you ever going to do anything? And through the years, I've been able to, you know, get it working pretty smoothly. And we started when my husband was still alive. He brought home a lamb and said, can we keep him? And I had to go back the next day and buy a ewe because he cried all night. And that's what started our whole flock some 25 years ago. And in fact, this year I just lost my oldest ewe at 21 years old, and she was the last of our last set of lambing. So they live quite a long while. They are very hardy. They are pretty disease resistant. They don't get foot rot, so they're perfect for this type of terrain that we live in, and the wetness and, you know, dampness of usually of the ground in the winter. They are small in stature. Ewes are about 60 pounds, maybe 70 pounds, and the rams, which I don't keep a ram at all for obvious reasons. Anyway, they can weigh up to about 125 pounds, but probably maybe 10 or 15 pounds of that is their horns, because Jacob sheep can have anywhere from 2 to 6 horns, and both males and females have horns. So as far as a meat sheep goes, I don't use them for that because they're my babies, but as a whole, they're considered lamb until they're 2 years old, and they dress out. The problem is for doing it as a meat production is they're very small. So they dress out at about 40 pounds, these little tiny things. And so most people don't use Jacobs for that. They use them for their wool products, which actually they can go from very coarse, which can be used for weaving rugs and that kind of thing. And they can get as fine as what I use to, you know, make garments out of. And so over the years, I have condensed things down into a very workable area. I have 6 small pastures that I rotate them around in during the year. They spend a couple months in each pasture, and therefore I don't have to feed hay as often in the year. I feed it usually at night, starting in October, and so when we get the snow and the really heavy rains, they get it twice a day, and they do have a stall they can go into to get out of the wind and the rain. And my morning routine, like right now in the summer, is easier than I've ever had it. I get up in the morning, go open a gate for them to go out, and that's it. And count noses, make sure I've got them all, and then lock them into the smaller pasture at night. Don't have much problem at all, don't have any problem at all with predators. And with their horns, they don't get challenged a lot by predators. We've had coyotes in the field with them, and the coyotes kind of go, woo, you know, back off. Those things look pretty gnarly. So all in all, Jacob sheep are, I think, one of the easiest sheep to raise. Plus they're ancient. They were first, I think they were first documented back about 3,000 years ago in Syria. And through the years, they migrated all the way to the UK. Is that kind of windy? Anyway, they migrated to the UK, and in the 1800s, they were called park sheep. And the very rich people with their estates would have them out parking out their areas because they are browsers. So they'll take all the underbrush out of your forest. They'll do all that kind of stuff. And in early 1900s, they came to the US. And the European breed of Jacobs has been improved upon over the years, and the American Jacobs have stuck really very closely to the original breed criteria, which is why they're a lot smaller. And also they've been bred for fleeces rather than meat. And if they're bred for meat, the fleeces aren't good because all the energy goes into making meat. So as a whole, I think they're pretty easy. They're fun. They have personalities. Part of the farm tour was showing people, that, you know, they're not like puppy dogs. They're very wary. However, they all have personalities and they all show. Sometimes the personalities come out in what I knit from them. And here's the fiber. After it's been, when it comes off the sheep, it's called a raw fleece. And it is just that. It's a haircut right off the sheep. It comes off in a blanket. And then I pick through it, and called skirting. I take all of the debris and all of the edges that aren't any good out of it. I send it off to be processed, which is locally over on Jacobs Road. And it comes back ready to spin in what is called a roving. And from that, gets spun into yarn. And from that, gets made into products, sweaters and hats and gloves and all of those things. And as I said before, I do some spinning from other people's hand-dyed fibers. They're also locally hand-dyed. So that's basically what Farm Tour is about to me. I've been doing it for 17 years, and not always on my own farm, but I do kind of miss having all the people this year, but that's the way it goes. We at least are going to be safe, and we're at least going to get our word out as to what this is all about in our county.